Howdy howlers, it's Sako Toomey, also known as Cass White. I write horror, and I'm a witch, and I'm a graphic designer, and sometimes I combine those three things. So if you are looking to market yourself as an author, or you're looking to be a witch, please drop by my channel. I'd love to see you. I shall wait for the things. I shall wait for the things, I shall wait for the things. I shall wait for the things, Boop. Looks like barbecue lays and chill until my coffee's done. Which is funny because I was just eating chips myself. Oh, goodness. Good morning, Christina. I'm still getting my wits about me. It occurred to me that I hadn't written descriptions about each of the pieces yet. Not all of them, anyway. And most of them, in fact. But that is fine and dandy. Also, my first tour step isn't playing the music for some reason. Maybe I need to change the title for it to play the music or something. I don't know. Hum. That's a double. That's the live. Breakfast of Champions. Haha. Hello, L.R. Archer. So good to see you. I have abstain on my favorite mug. And it's really hard to get off because it's lip stain, not lipstick. From an outsider's perspective, it was enjoyable regardless. Your vision will come to fruition. You got this. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Wattpad Reading Sprints Halloween Bucks Edition on October 31st. See you there, and happy Halloween. Happy Halloween. Reading sprints. Very cool. Something tells me you're a bot. However, I'm going to entertain you nonetheless. Oh, still too hot. Oh, thank you for joining me this morning. I was strangely productive between the hours of 9 and 10. Strangely productive. How is the morning going for you guys? La 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 la. I don't know why I have the Katamari. Is that the name of the game? Katamari Damacy. One word summary. Kick-ass! Yeah! Hi. Destiny's here too. Haven't been to bed yet. Feeling a little out of it. Been having strange dreams and I don't really want to sleep. I know those feels super hard. My dreams have not been nice. But then again, I haven't been taking my antipsychotics before bed, so it's super weird. Hi, Debbie. Bailey and I have been coloring and listening to tunes most of the day. That's wonderful. That sounds like a good way to spend the morning. Absolutely. I don't remember how much of this I've read. It's been a couple of days. I can't remember which ones I've read. But I did highlight an area talking about a potato, like, voodoo doll sort of situation. Sort of, kind of. Boop. Ooh. Kelly put up a new video about mental well-being. I wonder if she will talk about Elena. I wonder if she'll talk about Elena. Hello, pronoun. Holy cow, Christina. Thankfully, my dreams had nothing to do with the media that I took in last night. They were just stressful. Not scary, per se. Though I had some scary dreams night before last. Like, basically all night. Basically all night. And I kept trying to get up so that I didn't have to sleep anymore. But my husband wouldn't let me get out of bed. So I just kept falling back asleep, and then another nightmare would start. So I woke up at 1, I woke up at 4, I woke up at 7, and then I woke up at 9 and said, no, really, let me the fuck up. So I think I need to refresh my nightmare wards, which is probably a good call. I have some upgrades I want to make to the wards that I made years ago. Need to be refreshed anyway. Do I have lipstick on my teeth? What the fuck? Having lip stain on your teeth is not a good thing. Me too. Lots of them are about being lost or things happening, and others in the dream don't remember happening. Oh. Shadow people, voices, whispers, getting shoved, ghost cat. Right on, Destiny. You got this. You'll figure it out. You will figure it out. Okay, where did I leave off? Did we talk about lightning? Do you recall if we talked about lightning? Because if not, then that's where I can start. Silver Raven Wolf, boo. Do not recall. Okay, then I'm going to start with lightning, and then we'll go from there. As we know, the weather of Appalachia can be unpredictable in both season and severity, and lightning can be particularly threatening. Folks will walk around the home tapping 2 stones together to create a barrier that lightning couldn't penetrate. This was done with 1 black stone and 1 white stone. The Cherokee believed that wood from a tree that has been struck by lightning will protect from the same and give the person who wears it power. Geranium petals are also said to protect from lightning, as well as dog bites. I think I missed a day when my in-laws were here, so not sure either. I took yesterday off, so you might not have missed anything. I did not do the readings yesterday. I took yesterday completely off. And I'm back to work today. We'll do all the art. I'm 3 days behind on my Inktober things. Even more so on Halloween. So we'll see. I do kind of want to show off my gargoyle. I don't know if all of you have seen it yet. I did post it in the Discord chat, but not all of you are on the Discord, so check out my dude. Isn't he charming? Sitting on a bed of skulls. So I'm going to call on Kali to send a spirit that maybe this will fit. And then he will protect my fort with fire. Fighting fire with fire, as it were. Don't threaten the bigger dog, right? Yeah, he's great. He's got a velvet bottom. Like, I'm really, it's bigger than I thought it would be. And he's got a velvet bottom, and it's definitely worth the $30 that I paid for it. And Christina can't get over how cute he is. Look at his little teeth. There we go. He's got little fangs. Isn't he cute? I also like his little belly button. Little belly button. And he's holding a bone, and also his tail, I think. Bone and his leg. Okay. His tail is wrapped around his body and the skulls. Yeah. I need a velvet bottom. I think I have one. I just don't pay enough attention to it. Currently, my bottom is covered in narwhals and unicorns. It's pugs on narwhals and fighting cats on unicorns. They are battling. I like his nose. Oh my god. You're a belly button person? Goose same. Yay! I do not have an Audi, but he does. I just got very excited about the belly button comment. Don't mind me. All right. Where were we? When restless or troublesome spirits come to haunt the household, the potato charm is utilized. One acquires a whole, unwashed potato and a small object that belonged to the deceased. The potato is cut in half, and each side is hollowed out, made large enough for the item to fit snugly inside. The halves are then reunited, bound with red yarn, and pinned shut with nails. The charm is then taken to the grave of the spirit, where it is left. The spirit will then be bound to the cemetery until they fully cross over. Other practices include hanging bunches of basil over windows and doors to keep unwanted spirits out, hanging lavender to protect from misfortune, and placing a dried corn cob beneath the doorway to attract good fortune and keep disease away. I never thought about that with dried corn cob. I do, however, hang sage, basil, and lavender from my kitchen, in my kitchen, by the doorway. In order for this to work, though, the corn cob must always remain dry or it will mold and rot away the luck. To protect yourself from being witched or hoodooed, tie up a lock of your hair, a toenail clipping, and a stick from the sunny or eastern side of an oak tree with red string while invoking the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. It's said that you can't be cursed or worked on as long as you have this charm on your person. However, should you ever lose the charm, the person who finds it can use it to curse you. The lock of hair and the nail pairing shows the importance of the head and feet, which are the most powerful ways a witch can lay roots on someone, by either dusting one's head while sleeping or rooting on your footprints. We'll go into the importance of the head and feet more in Chapter 6. The hair and nails also act as a decoy, luring any tricks to it first, because curses take the shortest route to the target, in this case, the charm. The oak has a long history of protection and strength. As these are bound with the red string, symbolic of blood, one is bound outside the grasp of curses and enchantments. To remove curses or tricks, one carries a piece of coal in the right pocket or shoe. Once the coal has diminished to dust and crumbs, the curse has been removed. The crumbs are then disposed of at a crossroads or beneath a willow tree that stands next to a stream. Excuse me. Return a different way than when you came and cross the stream as well. The reason being the crossroads will contain the curse in a kind of prison. Before real grave markers, the willow tree stood as a marker of graves in Appalachia for a long period. Today, they are places to put things to rest, and you should cross the stream to deter anything from lingering or following you. Good luck. Life in Appalachia was hard enough without the extra misfortune that fate dealt. Closely following the concept of protection, there are tricks and wits to bring good luck and keep misfortune away. My grandmother's always hung horseshoes pointed upward to keep the luck from running out. Another tradition was always keeping a jar of money by the door to keep the money coming in. The jar was filled with money that one found on the sidewalk or elsewhere, and it was collected in anything from an empty peanut butter jar to an old crock pot. Cornmeal was always sprinkled at the bottom to make the soft dirt for the money and to keep it off the hard bottom, so likewise the family would be kept off hard times. Oh, that's interesting. And let me tell you, no matter how hard life was, we were always given or found some money, and not a day went by that we didn't have some type of food to eat as long as the jar sat by the door. I do keep a jar very similar to that. I should keep it next to the door. I'm hesitant to do so because I'm hesitant to keep things near the door, because if someone like comes in door, they can like take stuff and leave. Like I don't leave my keys near the door because they could snatch my keys and take my car or other things. But that's me. When you find money, you should pick up the coin or dollar and place it in your left pocket until it can be added to the jar. Money from the jar can be spent, but it should never be totally emptied and should always hold 7 or more one type of currency. For example, 7 dimes, 7 pennies, or 7 $1 bills. You, of course, know that the 4-leaf clovers and ladybugs are lucky, and it's the same here in Appalachia. However, a 4-leaf clover has to be found when you aren't looking for it, and no one else can ever see the clover or it will lose power. To keep found 4-leaf clover secret, folks would tuck it away in their Bible along with their own picture under the clover, or else they'd put it in their Bible cover. Some folks would even sew clovers in the rims of hats or in the lining of their shoes. Good luck also comes if you find a 4-hold button, or a heads-up penny and put it in your right shoe. The spider found nesting in the kitchen is another sign of luck and abundance and would never be disturbed. The family would never go hungry as long as it made camp. Seeing the new moon for the first time each month over your left shoulder is also considered good luck, but not if you see it through the trees. Yeah, I know, right? And that's a lot of, I'm assuming, now I hate saying that I'm assuming things, but I suspect that the moon-eyed people were Irish. That is my suspect. I'm getting all these notifications that I don't care about. Good luck also comes blah blah blah. Old folks weren't afraid of using animal parts and leftovers for remedies and charms. Whether they cooked worms by the fire to make an oil for arthritis or rubbed rabbit brains on the gums for toothache, they weren't the least bit squeamish. Therefore, many animal parts and bones were used for good luck and gambling. The most famous is the bone of a black cat. Black cats are notoriously thought to be bad luck. Old formulas called for using the bones of a black cat. The skeleton was taken to a creek where the water flows to the south, and the bones were dropped into the water. One bone would float and go upstream. It's the one bone that will be lucky. Other variations call for it to be done in the woods or simply in the home, where the creek is replaced with a pot of milk, into which the hot bones are dropped, and either the first one to come to the surface or whine like a cat was the lucky bone. These bone-washing formulas, as I call them, derive from Europe, and over time they have been adapted to be more humane. More recent tales specify the bones of naturally deceased black cat. The formulas and charms I use were recommended by the old-timers in these mountains. For example, a bone from the right paw of an opossum is carried for luck and success, which works just as well. Other good luck charms are deer horns Other good luck charms are deer horn points worn around the neck. That's a tongue twister. Boy. Which also protects from the evil eye, or a muskrat or a rabbit's foot carried on the person. I was doing that. I think my charms, I used to keep it on my phone, which I always carry with my person. And the clasp, there's like a hole here, and there's a clip that goes on there where a hand strip can go, and I hung charms and talismans off of it, and rabbit's foot was one of them. The place that I bought it from specialized in taxidermy, so. All right, bad luck. Hi, Alex. Alexis. School's been canceled till November. Oh, sounds like they got a couple more cases. Mm. 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 Bad luck was something mountain folk just couldn't afford. If the crops began to rot or someone had an accident and couldn't get care, it could decimate their daily lives. So they listened close to Granny's tall tales, lest fate be tempted. Here are a few things to be wary of. It is bad luck to open an umbrella inside the house, to come in a door you didn't go out from, and to spill salt or oil. So the umbrella thing that is definitely a thing. The salt thing is actually to keep vampires from coming at you, because if you throw salt over your shoulder, then the obsessive compulsive vampire behind you will stop and count each of the grains of salt so you can get away. Depending on the oil also is considered lucky. The family back home is in lockdown until 25th, but the cases are growing, so they might add another 2 weeks to this. Yeah. Yeah. Don't burn sassafras or pine wood in the home. Burning cedar or dogwood inside is also... Oh, burning cedar is considered to be bad luck inside the house. Likewise, dogwood blooms shouldn't ever be brought inside the house because it's said that the wood Jesus hung from at Calvary. When a new candle is brought into the house, the wick must be lit and immediately snuffed to keep the bad luck out. Women weren't allowed at the coal mines, as most people believed they would bring bad luck to the mine. When a fish is caught, the fish should be thanked, or bad luck will befall the home and the cabinets will be bare within the season. That sounds Cherokee as fuck. To point at a graveyard, especially one with a new grave in it, will invite sickness and death. It is in these superstitions that the old folks sometimes went to the extremes. Bad stuff was terrifying for them and could literally end their lives as they knew it. They went to the extreme even in medicine, ingesting turpentine or kerosene, for example. I can't say that 100 more times, but you won't know the truth of it unless you're from here. Extreme measures included wearing powdered gizzards or manure in the shoes to keep off conjuring, carrying a rag with dried blood from the bull's ankle for health and vigor, or drinking sheep nanny tea for measles, which was made from sheep manure. Healing. Modern medical services weren't widely available in Appalachia for quite some time, so folks relied on old charms and remedies for their ailments, just as their immigrant ancestors had done. Warts were fairly common and irritating due to poor hygiene of the time. My father would wipe a wart off with a rag and a prayer or buy it from you. Buy the rag off from you? By what? That is a weird sentence. You sheep tea. Yeah, I know, right? LR. Bleh. Sadly, Papa passed on before I could learn about this particular method for removing warts, but my mother taught me that one that's a bit more involved that works just as well. Quartzite, known here as mountain quartz, is abundant in the fields and streams. The charm uses these white stones picked from a creek that flows south or west. You take up the same number of stones as warts that need to be removed. The stones are picked from the creek, but one must go with the river's flow to get them. So you take your hand and follow the current in the same direction as you lower your hand down in the water to snatch up the stone, taking care not to disturb the flow of the water as you drop your hand down to the creek or as you come back up with the stone. It's believed that if the current is disturbed, it annoys the spirits. Each stone is then touched to a wart 3 times and placed in a small pouch, and then hung on a cow's horns or on a fence post in a field, or left at a crossroads to wait for the next person who will open the bag of warts and get them. My grandfather had a gift for stopping the flow of blood. Not many people can do this successfully or even as great as he could, in my opinion. Sometimes he would indirectly stop a woman's flow. There are a couple of methods I've heard of. One requires a rag that is dampened with holy water and left out overnight on Christmas Eve. This rag is used throughout the year to stop wounds from bleeding, much like an Irish brat being left out to be blessed by the goddess Bridget on February 1st. The other method for stopping bleeding entails passing the left hand clockwise over the wound while reciting the following words, quiet enough so the patient cannot hear. Jesus was born in Bethlehem, baptized in the Jordan River. When the water was wild in the woods, God spoke and the water stood, and so shall thy blood in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Papa told my mom he couldn't cross running water for 24 hours after performing this rite. To cross it would undo the charm and the blood would flow again. Another practice he did was he'd give the person a red string to tie around their neck or on their left wrist to stop the blood. It was believed the blood would be stopped by the knot in the yarn. Water is another form of powerful medicine. Water collected at daybreak on Easter morning, Good Friday, or Ash Wednesday is said to be a cure for multiple illnesses. Rainwater from the gutters is applied to rashes, and the water, i.e. the urine, collected from a cow is tossed onto someone's feet to change their luck around. The least known but most powerful of waters would be stump water. The old folks often called it spunk water because it sometimes had an odd smell. This is probably dependent on the tree it's collected from. Oh, posture. Okay. Water found on the grooves of boulders was given the same respect, as it also never touched the soil. Likewise, in Ireland, we find the noted healing belief in well water whose surface had never been touched or broken by a man. This will be covered more in Chapter 10. Ocean water is said to help heal anything from deep wounds to a rheumatoid arthritis. My grandmother had knee surgery and for months afterward was plagued by painful knees. Some cousins were vacationing at the beach, and she called them up and told them to fill a big jar with some ocean water. They brought back a 5-gallon pickle jar of seawater, big enough that my grandmother could put both her legs in and soaked them to relieve the pain. She did that for a week, and her knees have never bothered her as bad since. Besides charms and magical waters, the people of Appalachia have relied on home remedies and herbal medicines for healing. For croup, what's croup? We drink the juices of baked onion. Bleh. For rashes, we mash plantain into a paste and apply it generously. We had the common sense that herbs may not always work, so our remedies often included man's medicine or chemicals. Whether turpentine, cod liver oil, or lard, we tried different things and kept the ones that worked. When I was little, I personally that's a period, by the way, when I was little. That's weird. I personally despise the hot toddy that my grandmother would make and give to us as she heard a pitch when we coughed. Now cherish it as one of my best cures. hot toddy is awesome. For the common cold, Mama always said to get 2 cloves of garlic and cut them in half. Take a half from each and tie it to the person's feet, right on their soles. Within an hour, their breath would smell like garlic, at which point Mama would take the tied clothes off and chuck them out the back door. The other 2 halves were then replaced, and the same process was repeated. After the second round of cloves had been thrown out, they'd soak their feet in warm salt water to pull the cold out. Marking and mirroring. This is going to be spoopy. Partly because I made it halfway into Us last night. And just before, I only made it about an hour in, and it spooked the hell out of me. I grew up hearing about children being marked by their mothers in the womb by the things that their mothers did. I'm one example. When my mother was 3 months pregnant with me, she was thrown out of a moving truck going 75 miles an hour. Thankfully, we were both okay, but I was born with a birthmark in my back in the shape of a pickup truck. The belief is that if the mother is frightened by something, her baby could be marked with a birthmark the shape of the thing that frightened her, or have a physical resemblance to the thing, to something or someone. On the other hand, the babe could be marked by someone the mother loved dearly. My godson, whose mother is my best friend, has a dimple on his upper cheek, just like mine, that shows when he smiles. Oh, croup is an infection of the airways. It's similar to bronchitis and just as hard to get rid of. Oh, I never knew that. Croup. Maybe I should write that down. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. For croup, okay. Pencil. A croup is a respiratory illness. Okay, thank you. This also applies anytime the mother goes against a taboo, such as walking over a grave or going to a funeral. A baby born to a woman who does this will be born pale and ghostly or with a deformity. Or if a pregnant woman has a major craving for something that can't be fully satisfied, her baby will be born with some kind of physical evidence of it. One of my cousins craved strawberries all the time while she was pregnant, and her son was born with a birthmark on his ankle shaped like a strawberry. There's no logic behind these sayings, but I've seen them be fulfilled enough times to believe it. The behavior of the mother could also mark the baby. If she is whiny while pregnant, she will have a whiny kid. If she made fun of a disabled person, her child will be born with the same disability. The old folks didn't always render to these foreign powers. They developed their own formulas for having the child be a certain way. The marking or mirroring charms that they developed mostly surrounded the care for a child after it's born, but not always. The first cup of water a mother should carry after birth should be a thimble full of water. She's to carry it from the driveway up to the house and to the child without spilling a drop. This keeps the child from drooling a lot throughout infancy. She also couldn't cross over running water until the child is 1 month old. Otherwise, it's said to bring illness on both of them. The latter isn't very reasonable in today's age with concrete roads. We never know when we're traveling over a natural creek anymore. Yeah, no pressure, all pregnant ladies out there. Also, hi, Marco. Speaking of pregnant ladies, birth, labor, and childcare. Looks like we have a Psalm of David coming up. Besides those about the condition of the mother affecting her baby, there are a plethora of superstitions around divining if one is pregnant and the birthing process. One my mother has always followed is placing an egg in a glass to determine if the woman is pregnant. First, the woman is rubbed over the woman's belly in a cross formation. The woman then blows on the egg and drops it into a clear glass of water. If the egg sinks, the woman is with child. If it floats, she is not. Okay, so here's the science. If the egg floats, it's bad. It's an old egg, and it's bad. If it sinks, then it's still good, and it will cook as needed. Hi, Raven. Pretty sure my spiritual guides are going to disown me if I keep giving side-eye to divination that seems unduly positive. Yeah, no kidding. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. This practice was often paired with a way to predict the sex of the child. A gold wedding ring was suspended from 3 hairs taken from the crown of an unexpected. Excuse me, let me try that again. A gold wedding ring was suspended from 3 hairs taken from the crown of the expectant mother's head. She is to lie down as Christ was laid, Nana says, meaning her head should be pointing west. The ring is dangled over her navel, and Psalm 23 is recited. I'm not going to read Psalm 23. Unless you really want me to. If the ring rotates in circles over her belly, it is a girl. If it swings back and forth, it is a boy. If a woman wishes to be free from her pregnancy symptoms, especially morning sickness, all she's got to do is crawl over her lover to get out of bed in the morning. Yep, I remember that. This will pass the symptoms on to him. I've seen this work multiple times, not for the men necessarily, but it still worked. About 80% of the charms surrounding women have to do with the birthing process. This was old Appalachia, where a woman's role was to bear children. That role was very dangerous in that time. As with all things, the mountaineer took up faith and charm and used them together for aid. To ease birthing pains, a Bible open to the book of Matthew is placed on the woman's chest or stomach. The location depends on the necessity. If the child is in danger, the stomach. If the mother, the chest. A knife, arrowhead, or axe is also placed beneath the bed to cut the pains in pieces and render them harmless. In today's hospitals, they aren't acceptable, so they make a tea with these boiled in water for the mother to drink. Feel my pain. Yeah, no kidding. In the case of possible hemorrhage during labor, chicken feathers were burned under the bed. A bundle of 6 feathers should be gathered by the father or another man of the house. If not the father, I've heard it should be done by a graying man. It was best if the feathers were plucked straight from the chicken, but this wasn't a requirement at the time. Birth came with sadness sometimes. Stillbirths were common in the hills. In the case of a stillborn child, the mother needed a way to dry her milk without physical pain being added to her grief. A charm was devised for just that. A camphor on a cotton wad was placed in the child's grave to dry up the mother's milk. If a woman continued to have stillborn children, Nana always said she should name the next boy Adam. He'll live, and she won't have another stillborn. Typically, a child wasn't called by their birth name for much of their childhood to keep them safe from the evil eye and haints. For most of my childhood, my family called me Bubba. Childcare was a whole other story. Many times, charms were devised to aid the child's health, but also to ease the labor of the parents. A stuttering child was believed to be cured by drinking water from a church bell or a baptism pool. The teething phase can be hard for mother and child, but especially for the woman of old Appalachia with likely more than 3 children to care for and a house to clean, among other things. The child is given a dime with a hole put through it with a nail to wear around their neck. For a boy, the dime must come from an aunt, and for a girl, it has to come from an uncle in order for it to have its charm. To ease the discomfort, Mama would also rub their gums with silver thimble placed on her finger, said to be the best for applying medicine and prayer. A deer tooth necklace also helps with teething, as does a necklace made of strung elderberries dried and dipped in the creek on Easter morning. Hi, Spence. Before modern pregnancy tests, hospitals relied on injecting urine into female bullfrogs to see if they'd react to the female hormones, or some substance that I forgot the name of. These stories and tricks are passed down in families and communities, routinely offered as wives' tale cures, or simple reminiscing of things that helped folks get along in their daily life. We have a good helping of these stories to tell should you ever make your way down to these mountains. The tea is always made, and Lord willing, it'll be a good day to sit on the porch in one of the wicker rocking chairs. So now that you know how we think, how open we are to the presence of the unknown, and the bits of wisdom we continue to follow to this day, let's get to work on putting our hands and feet to use in doing and working with the forces that run up the side of these mountains and down the other. Go ahead and kick those shoes off. It's time to greet the land you're on. One cannot work the roots of the land, harvest herbs, or converse with the spirits if one is not first acquainted with the soil that's home to it all. The soil beneath your feet is the first firmament of this work, and you need to know it. Oop, the divination mead offering is kicking in. At least I hope that's why my world is all in all Dutch angles right now. I don't know what that means. Lots of these bullfrogs were imported from Africa, and due to the warmer climate, some of these frogs brought over were living in humid places with bacteria and spores. I was Bird and a devil's child, aka born a witch. They thought reminding me that I'm a devil's child and calling me Bird would give me flight to fly away from him when he came to claim me as his. That is fascinating. I am so glad you're here for this. You have such fascinating stories about how this applies to your family. How did they know that you were born a witch? Was it like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like odd events, like the cow's milk spoiling, or I think they're called echoes. Black cat crossing your path and wacky stuff like that. Oh, did Spence come in? Yeah, Spence came in. Yay. Muffet, please don't be here. Please don't be here. Hold on. I have a cat. This is Muffet. She makes everything her tuffet. She never comes into this blanket fort, so I'm taking advantage of it. You don't want to meow? You're usually so chatty. You're usually so chatty. She's like 18 years old, 17 years old, something like that. I think she was 2 when we got her. Muffet. Like little Miss Muffet sat on her tuffet. Such a snuggle. Purrs. No, don't go that way. Okay. Well, I know. I'm sorry. There we go. My birth mom had red hair, and within 2 hours of me being born, her hair went solid white. I had a full head of long red hair, and they say I stole it with my mom's sanity. She had postpartum bad. That's super bad. I'm sorry. Really sucks that you're to blame for the health of your mother. Just sounds like stress and postpartum got the better of her. And I'm learning more and more the effects of postpartum. Depression, rage, anxiety, just all the things that can go wrong. I was raised by my grams. So that mom could take care of herself, maybe. And didn't take it out on you. Oh, we're coming up on an hour. Did I finish the chapter? I think I did. Yeah, I did. Barefoot wandering, connecting with the land. We'll pick that up tomorrow. It's very crunchy. It's a lot of content in very little time. Yeah, PPD is a beast. It is so important to reach out and get out of your head when you can. It's also a dangerous thing to reach out in some areas because if someone sees you as a danger. Yeah. To yourself and others, they have a right to call child protection. Yeah. I have 3 older siblings, and she was fine around them, so it was a mix of protecting me from her and letting her heal. Yeah, I gotcha. Something went blink-a-dink. I'm gonna check it real quick. Oh, okay, weird. She mentioned me in her story. Aww. Such a puppy. Yeah. Hi, puppy. Yeah, that's super spoopy. I'm sorry that happened to you. Because that means that there was some amount of blame, in a way. The blame being on you, even though you didn't do anything to warrant such things. Yeah, postpartum rage and depression got my sister hard. Thankfully, the worst of it is done, but like suicide runs in my family, suicidal tendencies, and some of us have actually succeeded. So that still runs through her system, and the rage still runs through her system too. And she will stop at nothing to not take her rage out on the kid. The kid doesn't, in no way does the kid deserve to be screamed at. In no context, in no way does the child deserve to be screamed at. She's a well-behaved kid. Like, postpartum is rough. Also, the pup loves streams. Yes, absolutely. I guess it's the comfort of having other people talk. Maybe that's a thing. Oh my goodness. So that was that. We talked about lightning. We talked about good luck, bad luck. We talked about pregnancy and birthing. It was neat for me as I got older, because I was raised in the old ways of the, as she called them. Ooh. I got used to ignoring the blame side and learned a lot of the old Irish ways. She came from Ireland at 13. That's amazing. They're like, well, you're born this way. We might as well teach you this way. That's awesome. I'd love to have you on this stream sometime. You can talk about about the old Irish ways and maybe how it relates to the Appalachian Conjure. So yeah, get a hold of me. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Twitter. In all of those places. Just drop me a line if you're interested in coming on here and talking about the old Irish ways. You have such a fascinating story. Super awesome. All right. It's 2 minutes to the top of the hour. I am going to try and get another cup of coffee, smoke another cigarette, and then get to working. Thank you all for joining me today. I know, right? That would be awesome. I will catch you guys on the flip side. I'll see you on Discord. That'll be a thing.